Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm down 26 pounds on my Rezoom version 2, unofficial version 2 of Bright Line Eating. And today in this video, I'm going to talk about 3 things I wish I had known when I rezoomed. So for those of you who are new to my channel, I upload every Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to help you on your weight loss journey, especially if you do Bright Line Eating or if you have binge eating disorder like I do. A little bit late today because today's Sunday instead of Saturday, but typically I'm pretty religious about like Saturday, 12 p.m. I've been traveling this week and I had a board retreat yesterday. I serve on our local Dress for Success board of directors, so didn't get to upload on Saturday, but I wanted to come at you with this special video because I've hit a milestone. This past week, I hit 3 months resuming, and in the past 3 months, I have not eaten sugar or flour. I have binged because I suffer from binge eating disorder. I'm going to talk about that. But I also want to share with you things that I wish I had known because the things I've learned in the past 3 months have really kind of made a difference for me in my journey. And I think what I tell you today could possibly be helpful for you in your journey, especially if you're resuming or if you struggle with binges. So let's dive right in. First and foremost, the most important thing that I try to talk about quite frequently here on my channel is that it is okay to add food to the weight loss plan for Bright Line Eating. For me, I'm really big on here for advocating about adding food, especially for people who have eating disorders such as binge eating disorder. And I talk about it a lot, but I'll give a very brief mention as to why I know that it's okay. So if you have the paid membership to the Bright Line Eating program, which is the website where I think it's like $20 a month. I did the free trial for a month when they offered it a few months ago. And it is one of those things that I definitely think it's worth it if you're new to the program and you're like, you need to learn more, you have a community that you want, that kind of thing. Definitely get the membership. I know that for me, the biggest value came when I found in the Bright Line Eating membership page, I found the 5th Bright Line section, which I believe is under coaching calls. Don't quote me on that because it's been a while, but there are calls pre-recorded with Dr. Joy, and I don't know her credentials. I'm assuming she's probably like a psychologist, whatever, but she is kind of the representative for Bright Line Eating that talks about eating disorders, whether it's anorexia, bulimia, or binge eating disorder. And what I had heard her say to multiple people on these calls was that if you have binge eating disorder, you have to add food to the weight loss plan and you treat it like your medicine. You make that consistently part of your weight loss plan every day because you need it. And for people like me, feeling a sense of hunger, feeling physical hunger can be a trigger. And that's true for me. Like if I feel hungry, I'm a binge. So I have to be very careful and make sure that I eat enough. Like you have to have sufficient food. One complaint I have said for quite some time about the Bright Line Eating weight loss plan is that it is too low calorie. And it doesn't always have to be. Like if you choose very condensed, very hearty, heavy proteins and, the heavy fats, you can get away with like doing the weight loss plan. But for me, I always tend to favor the vegan protein options, which are very low calorie. So I think that, and I've talked about this on my channel, I won't talk about it too much here, but I think that Bright Line Eating really needs to assess and have more personalized plans based on like your height, your weight, your activity level, your age, your family history. I think they need to be more personalized. They take the 1965, I don't even know what year it was, the Overeaters Anonymous plan and use it now as the weight loss plan. And I think that now in 2022, we know better. We know that everybody's individualized and people's metabolisms works differently. Literally, your gut microbiome can change the basal metabolic rate that you have. So it's just, we have so much more information now. Why are we still using a one size fits all approach? So that's one of my things. So I personally add a protein serving every day as well as a fat serving every day. When I resumed initially 3 months ago, I was also adding a grain serving every day, and I was adding what Dr. Joy calls a 4th meal. She doesn't call it a snack, she calls it a 4th meal. So I was adding it in the afternoon at about 3 or 4 p.m., which was a time that I was kind of falling off the wagon and binge eating. So I was having 3 meals a day. I would have an extra half protein at breakfast, an extra half protein and grain at lunch, and an extra fat at dinner. So that's how I broke up my stuff. I took away the grain and I took away the 4th meal because I didn't feel that I needed it anymore. And the rest is history. I've been doing very well. So that's number 1 tip that I wish I had known. The second tip is that this is one I kind of feel like I should do an entire video just on this, but I'm just going to talk about it here. The second tip I wish I had known when I resumed is that it is absolutely okay to work with your medical doctor and take an appetite suppressant pill prescribed. This prescribed medication has been so helpful for me because I think my first probably 4 to 6 weeks, I think it was 6 weeks actually, my first 6 weeks, I was doing Bright Light Eating on my own. Actually, I think it's been the first 2 months I did Bright Light Eating on my own, and I was doing okay, not bad. I was, making my progress, doing my thing. And what was happening is that sometimes I would still binge. I would not eat sugar or flour. And by the way, I have a video a few videos ago called What It Took. So look for that. The thumbnail, I'm like, that video, I talk about how I was able to resume after, months and months of like struggling and just not being able to resume. This is the summary, but basically what I did is personally as a Christian, this is my religious belief. I'm not pressuring you to be a Christian. This is just me explaining my personal belief. As a Christian, I dedicated my resume journey to the Lord. And I said, I dedicate to Jesus, again, my personal belief, but I dedicate to Jesus that I will not eat sugar or flour. And I've been able to use that. That's been something that's held me like accountable and like just made me feel like I can do this. And so I've been able to not eat sugar or flour. Unfortunately, I still have binges. I was still struggling with binges. And so I would binge on like low carb food, right? So after about 2 months, I started taking, I'm going to pause because Michelle Cal said, what is the fourth meal? The fourth meal is basically a snack, Michelle. The fourth meal I would have in the afternoon to get me to dinner because I would feel super hungry before dinner. It would trigger me to binge. So I think the way I was splitting it up, and forgive me, it's been, a couple months since I've done this, but I would have the weight loss plan breakfast plus an extra half protein in the morning. The second meal that I would have of the day at lunch would be, protein, vegetables, fat, and I would save my fruit because I would have an extra grain and an extra half protein. And then the fourth meal was my snack. They don't want to call it a snack. Dr. Joy called it a fourth meal, but the snack in the afternoon at about 3 or 4 p.m., I would typically have like my fruit serving plus the extra fat. And so it would be like peanut butter plus like 1 ounce of peanut butter plus 6 ounces of apple, you know what I mean? Or 1 ounce string cheese plus an apple kind of situation. And then the dinner would be the typical weight loss dinner. That's how I split up my food the very beginning of the resume. And then I pulled back the extra grain and then I, was able to make it work from there. All right, back to what I was saying, the appetite suppressant. So I had seen an endocrine specialist because I was like, something's wrong with me. Over the past like 15, 20 years, I've had hair loss on and off. I just had infertility problems and all kinds of other things. But my endocrine specialist ran my labs. By the way, I should give a quick background that the reason I went to the endocrine specialist is because of Dr. Susan Pierce Thompson. I read the book Rezoom, which is kind of what sparked my desire to resume, because for a while, as you know, here on my YouTube channel, I was like, I'm not doing Bright Light Eating. I don't even want to talk about it. I don't want to think about it. I got back on Weight Watchers. And the reason I finally decided to resume with Bright Light Eating is because I read the book Rezoom. And I was like, you know what? They're finally talking about, yes, you can add food to the weight loss plan. They're finally also addressing all kinds of other things that I had kind of had issues with. So I felt that it was an approach that now I could embrace once more. So since I read the Rezoom book, there was a section in it where Dr. Susan talks about like, make sure your doctor runs all kinds of very nitpicky labs. Like she was talking about how her T3 thyroid and her reverse T4, something like that, they were all messed up, like they were really switched up. And so I said, let me go get my thyroid checked. And so I basically went to an endocrine specialist here and I said, this is the symptoms I've been having for like 15, 20 years, hair loss, infertility, all those things. And so she was like, you probably have polycystic ovarian syndrome because I fit the criteria, like beyond, I mean, I was like, check, when it comes to polycystic ovarian syndrome. So she ran my labs. My thyroid was completely normal. What was not normal was my testosterone level was more than double what it should have been. Like she was like, you want to be about 40, you're a 95. And I was like, what? And so that can contribute to hair loss. And I told her too, I suffer from binge eating disorder. I will get triggered and I will binge. It's not good. I'm so sick of it. Please help me. So we talked, and with the advice of my medical doctor, she and I came to the decision that I was going to get on this appetite suppressant called Tenuate. I am not recommending Tenuate for you. I am not your medical professional. I am not I'm not recommending it because that would be against the law. So I'm just telling you what works for me. I want to put that disclaimer in because what works for me may not work for you. Everybody's different. I just wanted to come on here and transparently talk about something that helped me, because if you decide to go see a medical professional, get your levels checked, whatever you decide to do, just know that it's okay. The stigma, thankfully, for medical medicine is going away, and more people are reaching out to their medical professionals and talking to their doctors for mental health and getting on, anti-anxiety pills or, anti-depression or whatever. And there's all kinds of medication out there to help you for anything that you suffer from. And for me, I was like, I just have this brain glitch where I just get triggered and I binge, and it's just, I need help. And so I have been on the pill Tenuate before. I have taken it when I was probably like 22. I was competing in the Miss Louisiana pageant, and with the doctor, literally with a medical doctor, observing me and weighing me and just making sure that I'm okay and healthy. I lost a lot of weight back then. I think I had lost like 50 pounds. I think my highest weight back in, my early 20s was like 160, 170, and I lost like 50 pounds. I got down to like 115. I was working out. I was in this pageant and I was very thin. I was able to keep the weight off for like 1 or 2 years, which was great. But then my binge eating disorder flared up, and then as the weight came on gradually, the highest weight I've ever been is 210 pounds. This resume with Bright Line Eating, I was 203. I had binged my way back up to 203. So let me back up, because those of you who are new to my channel are like, give me your stats. So I'm 5'2.5" feet tall. I'm 41 years old. Highest was 210. On Bright Line Eating, I got down to 150, binged my way back up to 203. And this go around, I'm down, today I was 177. And I definitely feel like I'm on the downfall. So what I was doing was talking to my doctor about Tenuate, and I did the first 2 months of Rezoom, I did not take it because I was like, oh, I don't need it. But then I kept consistently binging, and so I said, I do need this. And so I take my pill. It's a 90 milligram, and I cut it in half. And so it's basically, I'm taking 45 milligrams every day, because I did the full pill and it made me like crazy. Like I didn't want to eat it all, and I was like, okay, that's too strong. So the half dose is perfect for me. And I have my blood work to do. I think in 2 weeks, I'm going to get my, 3-month checkup, and I'm going to talk to my doctor, see where my testosterone level is. I'm going to let her know things are going very well. I'm really excited to tell her I'm down 26 pounds. So that's the tip number 2. I wish I had known it is totally okay to take medical, like professional, like official medicine under your doctor's orders to help you with your issues that you have. The tip number 3 is that it's okay to cheat on meal prepping. And the reason I say this is because when I was new to Bright Line Eating, I just, Rezooming, I just was like, let me go back to what's always worked for me. And so I was doing the food that I had done like a year and a half ago when I was first on the program. I got a little tired of that. I was making the same recipes, and I was like, yeah, I've been there, done that, a little bit tired of it. So I decided that I was going to meal prep, and I was making all these stuffs on the weekend. And I was literally, there was one Saturday I spent 4 hours in my kitchen, 4 hours, just like meal prepping. And I was like, that is a half day. I am the busiest person I know. That is not an exaggeration. I have a full-time job. I'm a blogger and a YouTuber, which is that in and of itself, like, oh my goodness, I have a 4-year-old son. I have a husband who's a flight attendant, so he's gone half the week. Like, my life is so busy. And so to sit there and give up a half a day every weekend, that's just a commitment I'm not willing to do. So my tip for you is do like I did and start quote unquote cheating with your meal prep. And so what I do is I batch cook now. The Natalie All cookbook called Batch Cooking Made Easy. It's none of the cookbooks that are not Bright Line Eating are officially sanctioned by the program. But if you look up Natalie All, she has done a lot of weight loss recipe books that are compliant with Bright Line Eating. Again, not official because they will sue her. They've probably sent her a cease and desist letter because Bright Line Eating does not play. They will come at you with a lawyer. But anyway, so they don't sanction her recipes, but basically it's a well-known fact that her recipes are compliant with Bright Line Eating. Also, I just bought the cookbook called Tasty Freedom by Lori Lundgren. The links to buy the Batch Cook recipe cookbook plus Lori Lundgren's new cookbook are in my description box below. The Batch Cook cookbook, I make a lot of breakfast recipes from it. I struggle a little bit more with the lunch and dinner recipes because Natalie does the traditional split of vegetables, which is 6 ounces of veggies at lunch, 14 ounces of veggies at dinner. I do what's called the 10-10 split, where I eat 10 ounces of veggies at lunch, 10 ounces at dinner. That's just me, but I don't like doing math. So I'm like, man, I haven't made a lot of her lunch and dinner recipes, but one of these days I'll get around to it. But I definitely recommend batch cooking your breakfast because it's just one and done. I make everything in a casserole dish. She has all these muffin recipes, and I was like, nope, it's all in a casserole dish, and I cut it into 4. So things are good. Batch cooking, game changer. Also another game changer is buy your veggies pre-cooked. Maybe you don't have a Sprouts Farmers Market in your area like I do. I talk about Sprouts a lot here on my channel because I just love that grocery store, and they have in their deli section like pre-cooked veggies. Like they have roasted green beans, roasted Brussels sprouts. They make the cauliflower rice with cheese on it. I eat that a lot, you know, and so I buy these pre-cooked vegetables. I'm gonna be transparent. It adds up. It's quite expensive. It's like $10, you know, for one veggie serving, but I don't care. I'm like, take my money because again, I work. Just take my money for convenience. So I just go and pick it up and then my veggies are done for the week. That's helpful. But if you don't have that, another thing you could do is just look up time-saving tricks like your Instant Pot. I interviewed a girl here who'd lost like, I think 70 pounds. Look for that interview. I did it probably about 2 months ago. And she gave some great advice on how she batch cooks. And she basically was talking about the Instant Pot. She's like, I throw everything in the Instant Pot because you can just set it and forget it. And I was like, that's a good tip. So for me, like I was roasting veggies and that's kind of more effort. With the Instant Pot, less effort. I'm going to try a veggie soup today where you just basically chop up all kinds of veggies that you want. Like pick what you want. You know, I've got red onion, bell pepper. I'm going to go get some cabbage, you know, zucchini, those kind of veggies. You put it in the Instant Pot with some veggie broth and a can of Rotel and any spices that you want, cook it, and then you drain the liquid and there's your, you know, cooked veggies. And I was like, oh, game changer. Why haven't I found that? So I also have given the tip before here on my channel that you also can cheat with your veggies and just pick them up from the Chinese restaurant. They do plain steamed veggies. If you ask them plain steamed Chinese vegetables, they'll do that. Me personally, I do a cheat, which is I get the white sauce. And white sauce, I don't think it's not allowed. It's not compliant on Bright Line Eating because it's made with cornstarch. I don't care because it's so minimal and I do not feel triggered by that at all. Like when I'm eating it, I'm like, it just basically tastes like yummy vegetables to me. I don't do that frequently. I do think that that might slow down your weight loss because there's a lot of sodium in it. So be mindful of that. But I've done that like 2 or 3 times and it's been great. I may even do it again today just because I've done the sprouts veggies a lot lately. So I'm like, I need to mix it up. Need to break it up, so I may go get some Chinese vegetables. One place I like to go is Panda Express. Their super greens, it's like kale, broccoli, like the super greens is so good. Again, the white sauce is cornstarch, so be mindful of that. But for me, I'm like 2 big, large containers of super greens will last me like 2 or 3 days. So that's helpful. It's delicious. I look forward to it. Yum, yum, yum. So those are the 3 things I wish I had known when I rezoomed. I hope that these tips were helpful for you. I have several recipes that I've filmed that I just haven't gotten around to editing and I've been promising those, but I have recently posted a few recipes like some YouTube shorts and just some other things. So check those out. Be sure you subscribe to my channel because I have more video content coming for you. I'm very transparent with my journey about what's working for me. One other little sidebar is that recently I did a video talking about how I exercise and lose weight on Bright Line Eating. If I had given a 4th tip, that would be it. But I didn't put that as an official 4th tip here because I'm like, not everybody wants to exercise. Not everybody's like me and enjoys it. So just be mindful of that. But for me, I've been exercising and I talk about it in that video. I think it's important that you check it out because for me, I became a quote unquote an official Beachbody coach. I have my link down below if you want to join me on the journey of Beachbody on Demand. It's an app on your phone. I swear by this app. I exercise with it like 3 or 4 times a week and it's got all kinds of programs. And basically, if you join on my link, it's I think $99 a year. I do get a small commission, and it's just like having a gym on your phone. I love it. Like I literally don't even know what I would do without Beachbody on Demand. I was at a work conference this week and I was working out in my hotel room with the Beachbody on Demand app, and I was like, this is why I love it. It's amazing. I personally feel good after exercising. I do enjoy it. I have automaticity with it, so that's part of my personal journey. Not everybody's like that, so I get that. I know Bright Line Eating is all about like you don't have to exercise, but for me, that's another reason why I need more food on the weight loss plan. So sorry this video was so long. I had so much information. Dawn and Jessica, I'm glad that that's helpful for you. Thank you for your comment. Thank you for those of you who watched it live. For those of you who are watching the replay, I'm so grateful that this, was on your radar and that YouTube suggested it to you. My recommendation is that you hit the notification bell on my channel so you don't miss future videos that I have coming out. Meantime, make it a great day. I love you so much and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.